Everyone thinks because you're a zombie, you don't know good coffee. Well, they're wrong. There's only one brew that gets my seal of approval. Deadly Grounds coffee is my guilty pleasure. The aroma is so intoxicating. It brings all of my neighbors out of the woodwork. Deadly Grounds coffee. Coffee to die for and zombie approved. It's good to get a little deadly. Use the front door! Oh, they're so disgusting.
Hey, happy Tuesday, everybody. You're watching Splash Pages. My name is Leo. I'm the monkey behind the keyboard here. And I have to say, this is hilarious. I'm watching the live stream on it, and the first thing that it said under the subtitles is, I'm going to eat chicken. Thanks to Drew.
It's you all.
How's it going, Drew?
I'm fine. I'm eating chicken. Leave me alone. Go. Next guest.
Chaz chicken.
Velvet Joker, how's it going, bud?
What up, boys? Nice to see everyone tonight.
Yeah.
You're right on time.
Totally.
Kind of.
So Drew, if you're done munching, do you want to introduce our awesome guest?
Yes, I do. Well, honestly, since our subject today is we're going to be discussing John Constantine, we're going to be talking about the Dangerous Habits Hellraiser story arc. We're going to be talking about the 2005 Constantine, which was a partial inspiration, which was partially inspired by that story arc. We're going to be talking also about the WB animated Constantine, City of Demons. I thought, who better than probably one of the best, and I hate saying it like this, but it's very true, one of the best John Constantine cosplayers I've ever met. That would be this guy. Mm-hmm.
How you doing?
Yeah, everybody. This is Kevin Borchardt. He's John Constantine, kids. I don't know how much more to tell you.
So,
welcome, Kevin. Great to have you on the show.
Welcome.
What up, Kev?
How you doing?
Good, man. Nice to see you.
Been a while.
Absolutely.
Well, don't worry. Splash Pages. You there's no smoking or non-smoking, so smoke away, Johnny. So,
bag it up.
Indeed. So, well, everybody.
Yep. Drago says, "Don't come between a guy and his fried chicken."
Indeed.
Yeah. So just real quick, we have a ton of people watching. I want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight. We're going to be talking about all things Constantine. And for those of you just joining in, you said we're going to be talking about Dangerous Habits. We're also going to be talking about the 2005 movie. Also, Kevin, your awesome work cosplaying as Constantine. And we were talking about it earlier. You just emit the character. It's just awesome. Did I cover that right?
Sure. Brilliant.
So Drew, we're doing things a little looser today. Where should we start off?
Well, I think the important thing is that we go over some of the current events before we really dive into the magic. Yeah. So I will say this. I think everybody present, watching, all of us here at Splash Pages, including Johnny Boy up top, I think we should all have a moment of silence, a memoriam for two people who passed, who are important. One has been her passing. I very rarely have seen. I think everybody, the world, was impacted by this passing, and that would be Betty White, the last Golden Girl. When
they say they took her too soon at 99, that says a lot.
Indeed. Yeah. So, I mean, honestly, it's very sad, but at the same time, 99 is a hell of a time to go out. So I think everybody, we should all just have a moment of silence, and definitely as we do that, the Golden Girls theme song should be playing in our heads. So everybody. Well, thank you for being a friend to us all, Betty.
Yeah. Well done, Drew. And you mentioned we lost another shocking one this
Indeed.
Week.
So that person would be John Madden as well. Everyone, That play-by-play is getting really good up there. I'm going to say that for all John Madden fans.
Well, the other one is more comic book related.
No, I know. I'm just addressing that. So
Right.
the other one is more comic book related. And that's also something that our guest had experience with this person. That would be a Mr. Robert Bruce, who is we know, I guess, a collector extraordinaire who is seen very commonly on Comic Book Men. And funny enough, our guest actually, I believe he said, had a few collectibles from Robert Bruce. So Kevin, take that story.
I mean, I think I met him a few years ago, the first time at EternalCon when it was in Long Island. And once I got past my initial, oh my God, someone who's on TV. But he's really was accessible, and he had really cool collectibles and really great prices. And as a kaiju collection that put mine to shame, and I was always envious, but I definitely picked up a few Booster Gold toys from him and a lot of, I don't know what that said. I'll read that fast.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I'm just reading stuff. But yeah, no, I bought a couple Booster Gold collectibles and Just League International collectibles from him. And no, he's a really cool guy. And if you ever met him, I would say he was the best accidental Quinn cosplayer from Jaws in history.
They got those eyes there.
I'm surprised he never showed me his scars. So, but yeah, he was also like, I think he was a big behind the scenes of the New Jersey Horror Cons too. So
I think he ran the New Jersey Horror Con. I
didn't know that until one time I was there, and someone was like going to him. I was like, oh, this is his con.
Yeah, we interviewed him. I think probably about 5 years back. And I was trying to find the interview. We interviewed him and his son. His son was, I think, trying to do indie filmmaking at the time. I'm going to try to see if I can dig up that interview. I got it on a backup somewhere. So,
okay.
Yeah. But yeah, I totally agree. He was a wicked nice guy. And I'm sure, if you've gone to a con, you definitely ran into him at one point because his booth was, just amazing. Just so much awesomeness.
So random. It's great.
Absolutely. I bumped him at Terrificon a couple times, and I'd be like, Toyman, and he'd be like, Joker. And we had a couple conversations, and always super nice, super accessible. And I think I was selling a couple of collectibles, and I had reached out on him on Messenger. And within a day or two, he was like, yeah, Rich, this is what this is worth. Blah, 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 blah. Good luck. So super nice guy, super knowledgeable from what I understand. And definitely a loss to the comic and collecting world.
Totally. And this was totally sudden because it was, was it from the cold? I know he wasn't living out of the box. It was just, he was working or something, right?
Yeah, the one article out of New Jersey did say that he might have been possibly living there, so maybe he was estranged from his wife, but I haven't seen anything as far as that goes. So
yeah, the first time I even heard of that story was from Bob Camp, so I don't know how true it is. So there were people commenting that it wasn't. He was just getting stuff for a show, but
yeah,
right. He had just posted days before that, so
Yeah, in one article I read saying that he was a workaholic. So it was, he was probably just sleeping in his office, or something like that. But yeah, it's certainly a shame.
Indeed. And I just also want to say that they did confirm that Betty White's passing was due to natural causes. Of course, some people had tried to make her death somewhat of a political issue by saying that it was due to getting a booster shot. And honestly, I was just, I have to speak from the heart. I was very annoyed by that. I was like, guys, can we just please just admire this woman and mourn her passing and not politicize it or make it some sort of
absolutely. Yeah. I think I heard it was very beautiful. They said that her last words were actually speaking of her late husband, Alan, who died 40 years ago. So she
Yep.
never remarried.
Although she did have a notable crush on Robert Redford, which from what I've read was reciprocated, and he did try to reach out and make that happen, but she kept ghosting him. So I was like, man, ghosted by Betty White. What an honor.
I thought you were going to say it was Ryan Reynolds.
Well, that was always the joke was that, but I mean, it's also so sad. I mean, just 3 weeks she would have hit 100, and they were planning this huge big event. I'm sure they're still going to do something in memoriam, in memorial
Apparently,
to her.
People magazine actually shipped her 100th birthday out to stores. So I mean, it was that close.
So you know what that
Yeah,
means?
it's their fault. They jinxed it. You know.
You know what this means? Scalpers are going to be.
Yeah.
You know, I got that 100th issue. You know,
Collectible.
50, exactly $50, and it's like, no, my dude, like, nah, I'm good. I don't even do scalping for Comic-Con.
Fuck scalpers.
Right. So wanted to address that because that is a big deal. Other things in news that I just want to briefly bring up. It is confirmed The Matrix Resurrections has been declared a box office bomb. Barely made back most of its 190 million in theaters. Most people are blaming an overhyped marketing, polarizing reviews, and just the fact that it came out following Spider-Man No Way Home, which, as we know,
which is like number 12 movie in history now.
Yes, which is the juggernaut of the thing. And unfortunately, I got to say this. I mean, Phil, if more people were going to be getting Omicron, it was going to be due to Spider-Man than Neo. So,
did all of us see the new Matrix?
No.
I watched half of it on Christmas, but we started at like midnight.
Honestly, after the second one, I just kind of called it a day. I would want to check it out, but I still haven't brought myself to watch the third Matrix after how great the second one was.
Yeah. It was desperately trying to, in my opinion, it was definitely trying to poke fun of itself. You know, it's didn't really seem like a serious movie. Like every other scene was just trying to make some sort of social commentary about, you know, reboots and relaunches of series and stuff. It's just it was ridiculous.
I think they made a joke about excuse me, pardon me. Now I'm totally blanking out in my brain. Warner Brothers was going to do it anyway.
Yep.
And thanks, babe.
Thank you, Miss Harley.
Brain fart. So yeah, they were going to do it one way or another, so they might as well get a payday.
Yeah.
So
that I'm trying to think of anything else big in the comic world is happening. Books are being published and things are being made, and somehow we're still buying it. I do want to say there's one thing before we get really in. If anyone else has something to contribute, I think that we really need to cut back on supporting so many Batman books because we don't need 8-7 Batman titles right now. I mean, that's a lot, man. And don't get me wrong, I love Batman, but by God, 8 different titles, like
8.
I think it's like 8 or 7 or 6. All I know it's far too many.
Yeah,
like
hasn't it
2.
been that way forever, Drew?
It has, but lately, I just feel like they're really pumping that. They're just really pumping their big sellers, and it's just like, what about the underdogs? What about the little guys? You know, that could really.
Well, I agree with that. Definitely tone it down, but I think they need to do quality over quantity because
get some titles chances too, though.
Yeah. Well, what are you reading recently, Kevin?
I'm not really reading much. Oh no, I am reading Blue and Gold. No shock. I am reading Justice League just because of the backup story is Justice League Dark. Mm-hmm. Shock. I am reading X-Men, despite the fact that I bitch about it on a regular basis. And I think that's really it. I'm just picking up trades, and I was excited about the new the was it the Justice Society Infinite or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
And I was picking up Justice League on the one Odyssey. Was it Odyssey? No, crap. The one that's a continuation of Justice League Unlimited.
Yeah. It's in Justice League, isn't it? Like, yeah, no, I know what you're talking
You
about.
recommended it to me, so I don't know. I was checking it out, so.
Well, the only reason I recommended it to him is one, J.M. DeMatteis, who is also the writer, everybody, for the Constantine City of Demons movie that we're going to review, is writing the book. He does a fantastic job. And the reason I recommended it to Kevin is because he's a huge Booster Gold fan, huge, second to none. And there's a moment where Booster Gold is like running away with a tray of Rice Krispies. And I said to myself, wow, Kevin would totally do that. And just mid-battle, just claim a plate of
absolutely, absolutely.
Just it was
just
the
first time.
It was so random that I was like, yes, perfect.
Now, Drew, I've been so inundated this week with Constantine in preparation of this, and so I had to ask Kevin, what was it about Constantine? Was it like the first time you read it? Was there a particular comic? What touched you about that character?
I don't know. I've always been interested in stuff like the dark side of the reality and like the occult and people who kind of flip the bird at the superhero. I mean, come on, I grew up with the '90s and the '90s trench coat anti-hero, so it should come as no surprise that the ultimate '90s trench coat anti-hero is John Constantine. I didn't pick him up until like years later, though. I wasn't even like, I was aware of him on my periphery, and I think I picked up a couple trades here and there just randomly. And I think really it was after reading Preacher that I was like, what else has Garth Ennis done? And especially Garth Ennis and Steve Dillon. So like that run that those two did on Constantine, on Hellblazer, was absolutely amazing. So
nice. And how long till you actually got the tattoos?
Well, I got just one because I do have other tattoos that kind of get in the way. But I think it was like 3-4 years ago.
Okay.
So a couple years into cosplaying Constantine.
Sure.
But yeah, the first time I put it on, so easy, so comfortable, just be a bastard. It's delightful.
It is. It's also really nice, as Rich as you know, to do a cosplay that you can basically blend in the public and you don't have people looking at you in funny ways or asking you to take your photo. It's just a blonde boy in a trench coat. Like, nobody's gonna care.
Well, I mean, on that like same type of thing of like, I was for a couple years back, I was walking through Terrytown around Halloween, dressed in my Constantine gear, and I was just looking like a normal bloke, and then just someone across the street just yells Constantine at me. I was like,
that guy. My hometown. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Shut up, demon.
Yeah, as I'm about to go into like some thrift shop, I'm like, my people. They know what's up.
The relics know. So, and it's actually funny because just like you, Kevin, I was always aware of the character, and then I feel like for me, the introduction to Constantine was actually the Keanu Reeves movie, because I was like, wow, this is fucking dope. And I know it's like, oh, it wasn't really Constantine. I was like, okay, whatever. You know, it's still pretty good. And then you read some of the stories, and especially the Vertigo stuff. I mean, not taking away anything that there have been some good Hellblazer stories from DC.
But the Vertigo stuff is so much. Yeah,
it's on another level, especially because not only is John Constantine not a superhero, you know, he's literally the last person you want to save the world. He makes mistakes. He curses. He drinks. He does an insane amount of drugs. He is a walking fucking nightmare. But he gets the job done.
And he will sacrifice a lot of people to get the job done.
Absolutely. And I think the thing about John is he's not perfect, and that's what makes him so realistic. Also, he's one of the few characters, and I don't know if you guys realize this, he was one of the few characters who also naturally aged. Like near the end of Hellblazer, it was like we celebrated his 60th birthday, of course, before they de-aged him. when they switched over to DC. So I think by now, one of the only characters who is still naturally aging properly is Judge Dredd. So, old man.
Well, Batman they aged as well.
Oh, well.
A little
Then
bit.
they forget about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But okay. So, is there anything else current events that you guys wanted to discuss before
Just
we go back?
just for comics, real quick. Everybody's been a buzz about the latest DC vampires. Apparently, like
Is it good?
I read the last issue and it's seems okay. It's but apparently like Hal Jordan is like evil in it. A lot of people are like
Okay. It never happened. That's never happened before.
Yeah, Hal Jordan, an evil scumbag.
and
Alex! sorry. Well, something caught my throat.
and spoiler, he hypnotizes Wonder Woman and turns her over. So it's just
Turns her over.
well, turns her into a vampire.
Oh,
So,
all right.
Yeah. So it's an interesting book.
I mean, other than Green Arrow staking the crap out of vampires with arrows, I mean, there's no other draw for that guy.
Yeah, it would be Oliver Queen being the Van Helsing of the group, bitter, telling everyone I told you so, and still wearing that fucking hat. Ain't that right, Kevin?
Yep, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, the cats. All my familiars are yelling at me.
So Leo, do you have a little Sophia episode?
I do. So this was published Dangerous Habits, Hellblazer, published May through October of 1991. And I have a little video where we're going to take a little trip back into 1991, and we'll be right back. So we're going to do this right. We're going to get the time circuits going and travel back to 1991.
Captain, time travel circuit set for 1991.
So speaking of 1991, gas costs us a whopping $1.14 a gallon. Also that year, Kentucky Fried Chicken officially renamed themselves to KFC, and a little thing known as the World Wide Web was launched. I actually remember somebody saying, oh, it's just going to be a fad. Yeah, so movie tickets cost us a whopping $4.21. We spent that to go see Terminator 2, Star Trek 6, and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Go Turtle, go Turtle, go! Okay, so if you stayed home, you were probably watching Cheers like me, Murphy Brown, and Dinosaurs. And we all got up early on Saturday to watch Saturday morning cartoons. And we watched Muppet Babies, Back to the Future, and Bill and Ted. And yes, those were actually cartoons. Also earlier, like Happy Days and stuff. There's been a lot of crazy cartoons, so we got to do a show on it. Anyway, finally, for us comic dorks, it was the beginning of the end. The market was flooded with X-Men reboots. So X-Men 1 through 5, it was the top-selling comic. But honestly, you know, how many of us have 20 copies of each issue on our closet just collecting dust? Okay, so also that year, Infinity Gauntlet was going on. That's 1991.
I still have 20 copies of X-Men #1, so yes.
Leo, that was too real, because I also have all the interlocking issues signed by Chris Claremont.
Oh my god, all the covers, and I absorbed someone else's collection. Of course, I had multiples, and I was like, God damn, I can't get rid of these damn things.
And it's funny, it's funny. A side note that issue, I think issue 1 holds a Guinness World Record for most copies sold, if I'm correct. Like so.
Well, yeah, because you had all the interlocking issues, and then you had like the special that had like all of them in like a poster.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the fold-out one, and
Well, in Jim Lee we trust. So that's basically what it really came down to. I mean, come on, if Jim Lee can make 11 issues of All-Star Batman and Robin when no one else really wanted it, anything's possible. But thank you, Leo. Every time I'm like, wow, I really wish we could go to the movies back in 1991, because $4 a ticket sounds great.
Oh yeah, and gas too. I mean, holy crap.
Mm-hmm.
Buck and chains, not too bad.
All right. So Dangerous Habits. But first, before we start, Kevin, Kevin, would you like to give a little introduction or a little bio about your favorite cosplayer? Maybe say some things, or should we just jump right into that
What?
that hell pool?
Jump right into help pool.
Okay, we're gonna jump into the hell pool, kids.
Nice.
Do it.
Okay, so dangerous habits. So this
Light the
is
candles. Light the candles, boys and girls.
dangerous habits.
Yep, too many kittens around here. Can't do that.
So Dangerous Habits is a story arc written by writer Garth Ennis, and I believe it's illustrated by Will Simpson.
Yes.
Yes, published 1991. Hellblazer issues 42 to 46. And yes, everybody, 46 is important because it is the epilogue of the series. So if you want a true Constantine ending, read that issue. So this is one of the most famous, in my opinion, one of the most famous and crucial Constantine stories, simply because John Constantine is dying. And he's not dying because he's been cursed. He's not dying because he's got, I don't know, some hell illness. He has lung cancer from smoking cigarettes.
Yeah.
And this entire story is him basically trying to come to terms with that death, trying to find a way to cheat the death, and in the end, trying not to pay as big of a price as someone like him would, as Kevin puts it, since he's regularly flipping off the damned.
Yeah.
So, as I was saying to Kevin before we started, I've been meaning to read this story for ages, so this gave me a good excuse. And honestly, this was fantastic. But
And it's Garth Ennis' first constant Hellblazer story. Like,
wow,
that's how he started Hellblazer. He kicked open doors like, I'm killing Constantine.
wow, that's it. I did not know that. That is awesome. So,
Yeah, this volume has the story preceding, and then with his introduction, and just made this new fancier edition, where Garth's introduction is like, yeah, so they gave me a shot of the comic and decided to kill Constantine. Screw it.
Nailed it. So,
because beforehand it was all like very meta and great. It's great writing, but Garth.
No, I did not know who this character was in the story. They don't explain her. I guess you have to be more of a Constantine fan.
Kit? Oh, that's well, they explained earlier, because when Constantine is, we're talking about, we're going to go into the details. Constantine's looking to see if he could cure cancer, so he visits one of his old friends, and that is his old friend's ex. But his old friend also bites it, so
yeah,
which is a very, very important moment in the Dangerous Habits.
So essentially, and Rich, I can answer that. So that character, I believe her name is Elaine. No, that's not Kit. Kit shows up at the end. I think this is Elaine. She's the succubus from hell.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Okay. Succubus from hell. Okay, I thought she was some kind of demon, but I just wasn't sure what form.
Sorry, I'm looking this on a phone, so
it's all good. No worries. But so, yeah, I mean, come on, that's not a human face right there. That smile is way too sinister for me. I mean, that's a meme-worthy face right there,
okay.
Kid.
My bad. But yeah. But she's one of the succubi that Constantine is on good terms with, but she's still a fucking demon.
Being a cunt. So, honestly, I'm just gonna say this was fantastic. But one of my favorite moments was when he visited his friend in Ireland, and he goes to drink and he finds out the guy essentially made like magic beer out of what appears to be almost like a Lazarus pit like pool of holy water that he turned into like the best beer in the world. I was like, I'm done. This is fantastic. It's in the bottom of a lighthouse.
Not just that, he sold his soul to be able to make the best alcohol.
Yeah, like what a cheap, dumb way, but still some of us have been like, right on, that's cool. You know,
That's a guy. That's a guy who should have probably gone to an AA meeting. But
yeah,
Yeah,
that,
kind of drank himself to death.
like
Yeah.
literally,
honestly, that was pretty spectacular. That, and I was just thinking like, oh, thank God it's not PBR. But for me,
he's all right. Come on.
yeah. But for me, the fact that he tricked originally the character who I thought was Death, and then I realized it's actually a demon, or it might be the demon. That how he gets the one up on him. He tricks him into drinking the beer. He smashes him in the face with a bottle, leaving him to essentially like dissolve because he's basically swallowed the unholy equivalent of battery acid.
Well, it looks like he falls into the water as well.
Yeah. So
The holy water.
Absolutely. So the point being is that all of this is just to buy his friend some time, because his deal is very time specific. To me, that is literally one of the ballsiest things I've ever seen John Constantine do. I mean, and it just proves again in my mind how that his main tool is not the fact that he can do magic, is that he is a cunning, manipulative fuck. And it's fantastic. Like, again, he's the guy you don't want to root for, but by God, in the end, you're cheering for him.
I mean, it's literally the devil, though he screwed over.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is
pretty great. So that was, I have to say, that was one of my favorites.
Yep.
So that's my 2 cents. I will recommend this to any fan. If someone loved Sandman or like Hellboy or whatnot, I would say this is right up their alley. So I don't know, Kevin or Leo or Rich, if you want to take it from there, but
yeah, I think I'm going to jump in for a second. This is really interesting when you're faced with the subject of death, and the way Garth Ennis wrote this. There's anger and acceptance and denial, and then of course there's the John Constantine
and bargaining. Because he definitely goes around. He tries to call in every single favor he can. He's going to demons. He's going to angels. He's going to other magicians. And when you're John Constantine, you know the people you know. And they even reference Swamp Thing in it. And I guess Swamp Thing, he even says like Swamp Thing's pissed off at him still. So good luck with that.
Yep.
So I mean, he goes at all corners and you're a man like Constantine. But yeah, unlike a lot of other issues of Hellblazer too, it's not like he's not trying to be a detective. He's literally just dealing with his own mortality, which I kind of want to say is why he's like not in a tie. He's in a sweater the whole series because he's off duty. He's just trying to deal with his what he has in front of him.
Mm-hmm. So, Rich, what were you? Was there more to your point about him doing?
No, I just thought the subject of death and the way Garth approached it, and just the breakdown. I mean, it's definitely worth a read, and it's quite introspective if you read it slowly. And there were a couple pages I had to like read again and again, and I was like, "Whoa, I can't believe that's the way he's going at this." I mean, really complex.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, and it's notable too. He's also like he befriends a guy in a cancer ward when he's kind of considering his options, and it kind of sees that some people like John never really accepts his fate, but he does show a guy who has accepted that he's dying of cancer. Like that's all there's to it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So while Constantine Bart has all the other stages, the stage of acceptance is shown through this cancer patient that he encounters and befriends until cancer gets that guy finally.
Yeah, but Leo, what did you think, Leo?
No, I totally agree. I absolutely loved it. It was and I think I was talking previously before we connected, Drew, where I picked up the graphic novel, and I didn't realize the story we were supposed to read was like midway through. So I read like the first 10 books prior to it, and it's like
So you read the other one, the more collected volume 5 versus the original one they released years and years ago, which is just Dangerous Habits. Yeah,
it's and there were some weird stories in there, but The kid that's being abused by his dad, that's the butcher. That was extremely fucked up. But get
Or
to
Constantine meeting his evil. Not his evil twin. His good twin, because Constantine's actually the evil twin that Constantine John murdered in the womb.
Yeah, and then that weird thing where he like goes into the future and grows old and then comes back. Yeah, it's definitely some weird stories in there. But this was a breath of fresh air. Absolutely was phenomenal. My favorite part was definitely the relationship, as he's going into the cancer ward and trying to see, where he's gonna end up, and just befriending that old man, and realizing, at the very end that he forgot to say goodbye to him and race to him. And it's just definitely, pulled that to heart, but it's just a very realistic story. And it's just intermixed with all these demons and everything.
And I think another thing is really important to note that Garth Ennis really does enjoy incorporating war and war stories into a lot of his work. I've definitely noticed this, that I've seen this in a lot of his stuff. He's very much a person who he likes incorporating veterans and their stories of war and whatnot, because I feel like he sees it as a very accurate depiction of the best and the worst of humanity. And it's funny because I've seen war stories and veterans and characters in this, like through his first friend Matt. I've seen this in his story in his collaboration with John McCrea on The Demon. Same with his collaboration with McCrea on Hitman. The Boys, you see, veterans, Preacher. And then I feel like he's even done comics where he's talked about war itself. It's definitely a constant thing. And even when he was writing Punisher for Marvel, same thing. Frank Castle is a veteran from Vietnam. So you definitely have that appreciation, but it doesn't feel forced. It's not just for sympathy. It's just the reality, But I will also say, what a fucking way to end this story, right? That is John Constantine in the way. He beats death. He literally fucks over the devil, and he still has enough gall to give it a middle finger.
Yep.
I mean,
he'll regret it, but
yeah, you don't give a royal fuck you to the devil and not have to pay the piper when it comes.
But but Garth's setting it up like the image of Constantine that everyone knows, like that. Just the line, "I'm the one who steps from the shadows, all trench coat and cigarette, arrogance, ready to deal with the madness." Like that is what everyone's view of Constantine became after Ennis had his way with him.
Mm-hmm. It's true. So, Kevin, were there? I mean, I'm sure the whole thing is your favorite part. But was there anything that we haven't brought up that was a favorite moment of yours that you wanted to highlight
in that series?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it is like the very fact that he tricks three of the highest level demons around, the devil and like two others, and just plays them off of each other, like the ultimate swindle. Which, I mean, just playing kind of like his arrogance playing the most arrogant against themselves. Like, who's more arrogant than the devil himself? Really? Like, he who's never been tricked, the ultimate trickster who's never been tricked before. Others think they're clever, and then John's like, I got you. I got your number, bro.
And it's so funny because later on he realizes how dangerous that was and how what could have happened. And how his arrogance not only almost doomed humanity, but
Hey everybody, it's Tuesday night, which means it's another live Wicked Horror Show. I'm Kevin, and as always, I'm joined by Tony.
What is going on, people?
The 13th Wolfman, wake up.
Oh, everybody.
Yeah, and this week we're joined by people behind the new movie, Late Checkout, and then The House That Eats Flesh. So we have Josh, the director and writer of The House That Eats Flesh. How you doing, Josh?
Good. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no worries. We have Molly, who was also in. You were in the House that Eats Flesh, correct?
I am, and late checkout.
There you go. We have Bailey, and you're in the late checkout, right? I saw you
Yes,
listed.
late checkout. Yes.
Nice.
Hi.
Hi. And we have Derek. Can you hear us, Derek? We can't hear you. But Derek's there. He can hear us this time. Ah, there we go.
Yeah.
Oh,
There we go.
fantastic.
Nice. So yeah, that's all. We just want to talk politics from now on. Just kidding. None of that's true. So
please no.
yeah, I know. I'm just kidding. So yeah, like the House that Eats Flesh, pretty gory, awesome looking trailer. It's very creepy, by the way. Like I'm gonna play it a little bit later, but there's some audio like at the beginning of the trailer where like just we kill whatever, and it's very, very, very creepy.
Ominous.
Yes, very, very much so. So you have a new movie that your Indiegogo is going to be dropping within the next couple of days for late checkout. So Josh, do you want to talk a little bit about that project?
Yeah, so we have our Indiegogo going live on January 7th. And basically, it's just what I wanted to do with this film is just kind of take it back to like the 2000s roots, because I feel like the 2000s horror roots are just kind of overshadowed by the 80s and the 70s. So I was like, I want to kind of bring it back to those hard rock days where you would watch Friday the 13th from 2009 or Ghost Ship or, anything made back in the 2000s, the early 2000s. And it had that kick-ass rock soundtrack to it. And I just don't see many people doing that. And so I was like, okay, well, let's go back to the 2000s roots and make just a simple slasher film. It's nothing fancy. It's just a simple slasher film down in its roots. It's it's got some twists and turns. I don't want to spoil anything, obviously, but it's got a few twists and turns in it. But it's my main goal in any film that I create, especially with The House That Eats Flesh and Late Checkout, is I want it to be fun. That's my main thing, is for a movie or a film that I do to be fun. If people think, oh, I enjoyed that film, it was fun, that's all that matters to me. So I just want a simple slasher film. I don't want to get too muddled down by, politics and all this stuff. I just want a straight slasher film with blood, gore, great acting, high quality. It feels like a Hollywood film, but shot with a low budget. That's just kind of things I specialize in.
Nice. And the like you said, like the visual, like looking like a high quality film. I mean, obviously the House that Eats Flesh hasn't been released yet, but the trailer, like it looks like it looks really like high end. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
it looks like in the genre of like when I was watching it, I just kept thinking like House of a Thousand Corpses or like Devil's Rejects meets like a few. The trailer looked awesome. I was.
Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, but even like just the shot, like the beginning shot of the trailer, I was just like, wow, this doesn't look like it's a low budget movie. Like visually, it didn't look like a low budget movie. It looks good. So so Derek, you do the visual effects. You're doing it for late checkout. Did you work on The House That Eats Flesh as well?
No, I did not. I do all the practical in-camera effects, like special effects, the makeup, and all that fun stuff. Visual effects, not really my personal cup of tea. We try to keep it all practical when possible. I did not work on The House That Eats Flesh, but it was through that film that I was kind of introduced to Josh, through that campaign and all that fun stuff. And
Nice.
he actually reached out to me, this past summer when he first started talking about the movie. And then in the fall, we kind of got to talking about it a little bit more, and I was very anxious to get involved with it. As soon as he started describing what he had envisioned, I was very much on board for it.
Nice. And I always mix that up, the visual effects and special effects, like practical. I do it all the time. I've been on the set of like of a movie before where I kept doing it to like these guys that are like practical effects masters. I'm like, oh, the visual effects, like not visual effects. I'm like, okay, I'm sorry, but I just keep doing it. I'm sorry.
Hearing that it's going to be, hearing that it's going to be practical effects. I mean, that's what I look for too, because especially, I mean, Nowadays, it's getting a little bit better, but with a lot of the digital, it just doesn't look the same. With the practical,
It never looks
sure.
good. It's really, really weird. It's like after 30 years of doing like digital effects, you'd think that sometime along the way they would start to look better, but they're just getting worse. At least in my opinion.
I think you can combine
Yeah.
practical and digital, make it look really, really good. But it's like when you try to fully fabricate something that's just not there at all, it always looks like a cartoon or like PlayStation 2 graphics on your screen, and it's like, oh, this is not good.
It's all like blocky.
Oh, yeah.
Square. You have square blood everywhere. But like I've seen like, you know, one thing with like some lower budget stuff when you try to throw in like maybe like a blood splatter. I mean, it's cool. We get the point, but it's very obvious. So I think that as the film starts to look a little bit better, maybe that stuff's more doable. We have a Jason Whitaker. That's my best friend. I don't know who
Whitaker.
It's
Whitaker.
me.
Oh,
You.
nice.
You guys can
Well, your
make
best friend.
it someday.
What was
you
that?
know, sorry, am I interrupting somebody?
No, go ahead.
So I think, you know, one of the things that is a real drawback to special effects and visual effects is budget. You know, that's the thing. If you have the budget for CGI, that's great. But us indie filmmakers, I think we should try to do it all practical, because if it doesn't look good, I don't want to use it. Like if the blood does not look real, I'm not going to use it, because I care about quality. And if something just looks bad, unless it's made to look that way, that's different. But
if it's trauma, if it's like a trauma movie and it's made to look cheesy,
absolutely,
yeah, perfect.
You know what you're getting when you watch a trauma film. You just automatically know. So with me, it's like, if I have the budget to do it practically, I want to do it, and I don't care if I have to. I don't want to say kill anybody really on screen, but I'm just saying, like, I want to literally make it. No. So I just want to make it the best I can practically, and if that all gets exhausted, then we can think of different avenues to try it more practically. It doesn't have to be on set that day. We can film it later with, you know, better special effects or blood or whatever. I care more about the quality of the film when it comes to special effects, and that's why I generally don't use CGI or anything. I think that we're not going to be having CGI at all in The House That Eats Flesh, and maybe some, like, I think we had talked about like maybe some fog effects or something, but the thing is with that is we hire the right people to do that, to make it look good, not just, you know, getting a template off of YouTube and then doing an overlay in Premiere. That's not what we're doing. We want it to look.
I've seen movies where they're just using like Windows Movie Maker, and it's just like, okay,
exactly.
I just put, like, I had to make a little ad, and I just put a bunch of explosions and fire in it, and it's just like, all right, this is wicked easy. But it's not made to be. No one's gonna buy this, like, you know.
Yeah.
It's made to look dumb. But so Bailey, you're in late checkout, and
yes,
there's some photos on IMDb where you're all bloodied up. That's you, right? That's on the IMDb.
Yes, that is me.
So
she's smiling. I love that.
Sorry, I'm nervous.
Why are you nervous? You nervous about the movie?
Yes. No, I'm just nervous to talk to everybody. Hi.
Oh no. Believe me, we're the ones who get nervous. But so I was looking at your IMDb, and there was something else that you're associated with.
Yes.
The Sawyer family movie. What's that all about?
Yes, the Sawyer massacre. So yes, I'll be playing one of the victims down in the basement, and the rest is history. It's just like just a small part, but I'm super excited to be a part of it, and the director is really awesome. But I'm really just excited to, you know, meet some more new people and just get really bloody, because that's really what I love to do. I love getting bloody and being killed. So
anything in the Texas Chainsaw world, in my opinion, is a thumbs up. So I'm excited about that as well.
Yeah,
it's my favorite.
It's definitely one of my favorite movies. Yes.
I have like a giant.
Can you honestly say that, Kev, and then still watch, the fourth movie, Generations?
Well, I'm just saying. I mean, they're not all great. But I can go back to certain ones and be like, okay,
Yes.
this is totally
Some
worth
are
it.
guilty pleasures, but what can I say?
Some of them are just not good. But
Yeah, exactly.
I can say the same thing about Nightmare on Elm Street movies. I can say the same thing about Friday the 13th movies. Like, there's
Right.
some
Yeah, I
stinkers
know.
in the franchise for sure, but that doesn't mean that some of them aren't amazing.
That's very
Yeah.
true.
So as far as like that, the house that eats flesh, what's the time frame we're thinking of as far as like a release date? Like, when can people actually see this?
So we're I don't know if I'm supposed to say this, but we're kind
Well,
of
don't say too
working
much,
with
yeah.
a studio. So we have a studio getting involved, hopefully, that is going to handle distribution and putting it on streaming platforms. But as far as the time frame, I'm hoping later this. It is 2022, correct? Yes. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Later this year, hopefully. I want to release it around Thanksgiving. I don't know if that's going to happen, but just because there's some segments in there that evolves around Thanksgiving, so I kind of wanted to, put it out there in Thanksgiving. But it's one of those things. If a studio gets involved, we don't really know until they tell us, "Hey, we're going to do it on this date." But yeah.
But it's coming, and I mean, if
Yeah,
it's on a
yeah.
streaming platform, I mean, that with unfortunately with the way that everything's going in the world, it seems like a lot of movies are getting that kind of release over a physical release. I know, speaking for myself, Tony and Wolfie, we all like to collect, so physical
Yeah.
copies, even if it's like a special edition thing. I'm just saying, it's something that the fans look for. You want
Yeah,
to go to
and,
a con and get something signed.
Yeah, and that's why we ran the Indiegogo, so people could get the physical releases, because we don't know what's going to happen in the future, if we're going to get dumped onto a streaming platform, or if they're going to go streaming and physical releases. I'm not sure yet, but that's kind of why with Late Checkout I didn't go the studio route. I
Mhm.
wanted to do it myself, so I have control where it goes. It's like one of those things, because with the house, I have my DP Carlos, who is also my co-director and co-producer, that he knows a lot more people than I do, especially the higher ups in the industry. So he kind of got me involved with the studio to talk about selling the film to put it on platforms. So I don't know, we haven't really struck a deal yet, but it's coming hopefully this year. So
Nice. Well, that's good.
Do
We're getting
you
a
have
lot
final?
of we're getting a lot of love for Molly. I just want to point that out.
Yeah, I know. I
Which
saw
is,
that.
I mean, it's well deserved. But I'm just saying, like, everyone's
Is
all
it?
about
I'm kind
everyone's
of
all
Dennis.
everyone's all about Molly right
What
now.
you
But
can't see is the multiple guns I'm holding to people's head.
yeah, you just have them set up with like pulleys and everything.
Make me look good tonight, and
Promise.
I'll let you free.
You just hear some banging in the background, on the door.
Yeah.
Let me
Well,
out of the
someone didn't
basement."
comment quick enough. Yeah. So Wolfie, I interrupted you. What were you saying, Wolfie?
I was going to ask Josh. I go, so when it comes to this the movie that you're going to do for the studio, do you have a final cut, or do they get final say on the way the movie is put together?
So the deal that we are creating to bring to them is we have final say and final cut. So it's still on us and our terms, but they're the ones that's going to be like, okay, we get physical releases, streaming, the streaming rights or whatever, because in our contract we're going to make sure that we need this many Blu-rays and DVDs before anything happens, because we have perks we have to send out. So we kind of get physical, we kind of get the final say over what happens with it. So
That's good to hear, because I've seen too many
Yeah.
times where that movie's looking really, really cool, and like the producers or whatever, just like, all right, well, we want to do this, and it's just like, crap. So just another shout out for Molly. And then there's actually another one. I am actively in a death trap elaborate. So yeah, there you go. So for Late Checkout, I was on the Facebook group, which I joined today, by the way. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
And I saw that there's some other people involved, and this is actually something that kind of goes back to Derek as well. He's been involved in some of these other movies that I'm like, what? It's a weird community where everyone's just together, and we everyone keeps creating these movies or teasing us with these movies that I really want to see, and this is another one that so Derek, you were involved in Dark Circles, and were you involved in
right.
Time's Up as well?
I was not involved with Time's
Okay.
Up, unfortunately. A friend of mine, Lucas, was actually involved with Time's Up as an actor in that, and he had reached out to the filmmakers involved with Dark Circles, same group of people, and had recommended me to do special effects for Dark Circles, and I ended up landing the job. And
Nice.
Yeah, I met a lot of really awesome people on that. It was a great experience, and
Yeah,
a lot of those
that's the
people
thing
now
is that,
involved with this.
Right, exactly.
Literally the last like couple months we were between Dark Circles, Time's Up, on location. Like it seems like everybody in that circle, you know. And I was gonna go to my next question is, you know, it seems like a lot of indie films are going that route where, you know, I mean, you meet everybody and it works out. Let's just, you know, work on the next project and work on the next project. Now, Josh, did you know, with Molly being in The House That Eats Flesh, did you have the role in Ready for Her, or how?
Was she
how
like the
did that
intent?
work?
Yeah, it was just something that was in the works.
Write this for me.
So yes, yes and no. So you know, when I'm writing a strong female character, for some reason Molly pops in mind. Just because she was such a great actress on House That Eats Flesh, and you know her previous work and everything. It was
Sergio was sleeping. Sorry, just wanted to bring that up.
You're fine. But she was such a strong actress, and when I was writing it, she immediately I was like, I think she can do this. So I reached out to her. I was like, you know. Was like, hey, you know, we worked together before. So, hey, do you mind coming in and playing the part of? Well, it was the name thing. It was Tina, but then she was like, you know, I don't see.
Him about
She cyberbullied me. She was like, Tina, really? I was like, okay, we'll change the name. But now she plays Addison, and Addison, yeah. You know, more. You know, not
a person with teeth.
Yeah, there you go.
No offense, Jenny, if your mom's named Tina.
But yeah, I mean, she was the first one that I reached out to from a previous film. I was like, hey, you know, I want you to be in this film. Do you want to be in it? And you know, it's history. She said yes, obviously.
Well, there you go. And you were in Slasherette Party as well, which is a movie that we've had people on for in the past. And I enjoyed the movie quite a bit. So that's awesome. It's going to be one of those things where you know, that's why I'm talking about physical copies, because when you guys are the at the booths at your convention, you know, I want to be able to get signatures and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. So yeah, that's the thing. Now, do you guys do that stuff in your area? I'm not sure where you guys are all located, but look at that Slasherette Party. Do you have a signature from her on there?
I mean, there's like 30 people.
Like 400
there,
signatures
so.
on here.
Well, there's. I think it's almost the whole cast. I think
she must be on there somewhere.
It might be.
If not, you have to mail it out to her and have her sign it.
I would absolutely sign it.
And then keep it.
Yeah. No, she wouldn't.
You'd sign it, then sell it back to him.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's more valuable now.
Jason's asking if we should be drinking. I feel like we should be drinking.
I mean, you could try to make like a drinking game out of this episode. Like every time, I don't know.
Every time someone says something nice to Molly, drink.
Yeah, we're all be hammered right now. So Molly, do you want to talk a little bit about? And now that you're taking your drink, do you want to? Perfect timing on my part. Do you want to talk maybe a little bit about your? I know you guys can't really say too much about late checkout because it's not. It's it's kind of hush hush right now. Am I right? Bailey's looking at me like I don't know.
Everybody can, obviously just don't give away the story, but I mean, yeah, they can talk about it freely and openly.
All right, Molly, you want to talk a bit about your character in late checkout, if you can?
Yeah, absolutely. But first, I did want to say when we were talking about practical effects, I felt like I should mention that I think many of us on set for House were just gagging and just it's truly horrifying. Like, part of the magic that you lose in CGI is you don't get that reaction from actors. You don't get to play with it when you're in the scene. It's something that happens later without you. So having those practical effects, and one thing I'm so excited to work with Derek about, because I saw him absolutely blood cannon Bailey. It's just having those like super gory, visceral things to work with. I think it brings like a really special element to Josh's work, and it definitely comes through in the final product. Late checkout. Late checkout is a lot of, I love the early 2000s horror. Like that is my comfort zone. That is, I think I mentioned today in a wildly long Facebook rant that it's almost like therapeutic to me. It has that perfect blend of like horrifying nostalgia and like hot girls in crop tops. Beautiful combination. And Addison is super fun to me because she's different than any other role I've played, and I do love like a strong woman. And Addison is definitely she's a little pushy. She's like a type A ginger Barbie is kind of what I'm going with. And I get to work with the incredible Elsie Holt from You're Next, which has always been one of my favorite movies. I live to see her ruthlessly beat the shit out of those guys.
Yeah. Someone's landing a plane. No, we've had Elsie on the show before, and yeah, he's great. And that reminds me, I have to reach out to him because he told me that his favorite movie is The Burbs. One of his favorite movies is The Burbs. I told him I needed to rewatch it because I hadn't seen it in forever, and I needed to message him back to tell him. He's like, if you love The Burbs, then we're friends. I'm like, all right, I guess we're friends now. But I have to message him and let him know that. But yeah, it's he's pretty great, and he's great in that movie too. Like it's something where I rewatched it, because it had been a while. Because there's just too much stuff out there to watch, and yeah, he's great. I mean, even though like he wears a mask for a lot of the time. When he's not wearing a mask, he's very powerful, and whatever. So I'm psyched to see. Like there's a lot of these people that are in this new, we call it like the new Rat Pack. Like a lot of these people that are in the new Rat Pack that I'm like super psyched to see doing other stuff, and some of them are involved in late checkout, so I'm excited for that as well. But yeah, actually Sergio wants to say hi, and we're almost at the halfway point, so I kind of want to play the trailer for The House That Eats Flesh.
Okay,
I'm gonna play that. Remember I told you I had to do an ad with like some bad explosions and fire? I'm gonna play that first because we have a new sponsor, and it's Silk City hot sauce. So here's the ad for that, and then the House That Eats Flesh. Here we go.
Greetings, Spice fans. Silk City hot sauce is now sponsoring the Dorkening Podcast Network. Our craft sauces are made in Vermont in small, high-quality batches using locally sourced, farm-grown ingredients. Silk City hot sauce comes in a variety of heat strengths and killer flavors like Jezebel, Erotic Fever, Mango Madness, and Good Morning Jonestown. And don't forget our newest creation, Hot Syrup. Make no mistake, Spice fans, this is the queen of sweet heat. There's new and unique flavors coming out all the time. Best of all, right now, listeners of the Dorkening Podcast Network can go to silkcityhotsauce.com and use coupon code DORK. Not only will you get 20% off your order, we'll also throw in a free bottle of hot sauce. That's silkcityhotsauce.com. Coupon code DORK.
We're all killers, aren't we? It's in our nature to kill. We kill animals. We kill nature. We kill each other. We kill. His blood runs through these walls of this house. When I was a little girl, I didn't believe such nonsense. But eventually, I believed. Someone here has a very dirty mouth. Someone might be careful, might get that tongue cut out, little girl.
So that we kill that thing.
A little bit of different quality in between.
It is whatchamacallit, terrifying nightmares. I'm gonna I'll put my wife's like ringtone as that or something so it freaks her out. But no, it's very like that. Just like the editing in that. I don't know if it was just pieced together or whatever, but that's super creepy.
Yeah.
So yeah, congrats on that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I have two questions about some of the characters in the movie.
Okay.
Lisa Wilcox,
Mhm.
you know, sitting there with the eye patch over her eye reminds me. I mean, she reminds me a lot of Christina Lindbergh in A Cruel Picture. Any influence there?
So with Lisa's wardrobe and Lisa, the way she wanted to portray her character was, I like to give everyone creative freedom. So I want them to be able to work out their own characters and kind of become their own characters because it worked out with us. Thank you, Hello Kenny, for that. But thank you, Jason. But yeah, so I give everyone creative freedom. And Lisa had called me one night and she was like, "Hey, so what do you think about me wearing an eye patch?" I was like, "Okay, awesome, we'll do that." And she was like, "What if I was really scarred up and wore this old lady dress?" I was like, "Absolutely, go for it." So I don't know if that's where she got her inspiration from, but she kind of built her character the way she wanted to portray it because I just like doing that. I like, Molly. I told Molly this. I want you to become your character in a sense. So take time to read the script, fall in love with your character, and just create that character as if you were creating a new you. And Lisa killed it. She absolutely killed it. It was a pleasure working with her. She was she was the highlight of my career as it just for my first film, I guess, but as a highlight so far of my career, I loved every minute of working with her. She was very sweet, such a talented individual. So
That's awesome.
And-
I mean,
and the
so
second-
did you do like shorts? I'm sorry, just real quick, because you said you
Yeah.
pointed out it's your first film. Did you do short films and stuff beforehand, or is this?
So I haven't done any like short films. I've done like a short fake trailer. But mainly I did stuff like plays and stuff. I directed plays and
Okay.
stuff like that.
That's cool. Wolfie, I cut you off. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. And the second one was, and I mean, I think a lot of people are gonna take that the guy in the burlap sack is a throwback to Jason, but I see him more as a throwback to the town that dreaded sundown. Any inspiration there?
Both. It was inspiration with both because I think the hockey mask that Jason wears is great and it's iconic, but he was just so differently creepy with the backhead. And I kind of missed the backhead, and that's why I liked it in the remake so good because they finally brought the backhead back, and I've always loved that Jason. And then of course the town that dreaded sundown. There's just not that many baghead killers, and I love baghead killers. So they're so creepy to me.
Yeah, we should do a hashtag baghead killers need to come back.
Well, yeah, and that movie came out 6 years before part 2. So
Yeah.
it
Well,
came out like
I mean, it is
76.
creepy. It is very creepy. I agree. I mean,
Yeah.
you can kind of even like. I wonder if that's even if you look at like The Strangers and stuff like that. Like it's kind of like a baghead, kind of.
Yeah,
I guess
it's a
little
burlap
different.
sack. Yeah, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When that was terrifying. So
Yeah.
Bailey, we haven't talked to you very much. I apologize. Can you talk a little bit about your character in Late Checkout?
Yes, no problem. So I play Megan, and she's really looking forward to, spending quality time with her boyfriend. And I think she's kind of just distracted and in her own head a lot, which causes her to have, certain little moody like swings because I think she wants everything to work out perfect. And then at some point in the movie, she's like, well, I kind of got to get my shiz together and be a little bit more focused and a little bit more, I don't know, present in the situation that occurs. So
Yeah, and then the photos on IMDb, you're just covered in blood. So I mean, I don't know how that.
Yeah, she just really needed to meet some business and be present in the situation and stop getting in her head.
Nice.
See, I love the fact that she smiles every time that you said that she was covered in blood. Did you really enjoy being like covered in all the goo?
That was probably one of the most fun and exciting experiences ever. I wish
Eric's
I
like,
could
okay,
just
you're
shot
in
with
for it
blood
now.
every day. Yes. As
No,
soon as I
she
got that
was
taste of it, I'm
legitimately
like, I need it.
begging for that. To be fair, I warned her. I warned her and everyone else. And that's what's actually funny about what Molly said and what Bailey said, just to kind of piggyback off of that, is I straight up said, I was like, listen, you are about to get absolutely doused in blood. Like, are you ready for this? And we were going to do it in the garage. I was like, nah, we should do it outside.
We were like,
Our
no, we
camera
should.
guy,
The garage.
Jared was laying on the ground, and we're just like, dude, you're going to want a tarp. He's like, nah, man, it's good. I was like,
I'm good.
You want a tarp? And he's like, nah, man. I'm just like, Jared.
Yeah.
You want a tarp. And
I
by
had
the
to, like,
time it was
tuck him
done, he
in.
was just like, yeah, that was a good call. Because there was a lot of blood. And everything you see on her, there was like 5 times the amount everywhere else. I mean, there was a lot.
It was amazing. And it
So
smelled
how many
amazing.
weeks later were you still finding stuff? Yeah.
Actually it like when I was shot with blood, like it actually came off so easily. And it like I said, it smelled amazing. It smelled very good. I don't know. It was like vanilla. It was like maple syrup. It just smelled so delicious. He said I couldn't eat it though, but
yeah, don't.
but
You
no,
should have
it washed
proved. You
off
should have.
super easily. They covered me after I got doused in my blood. I had to stand on the tarp and then be completely like wrapped up like a Christmas present in the tarp. And then I had to be guided up the stairs right into the shower, and I just showered like with my clothes on completely. But it was really fun, and it was very interesting. I have tarp photos, so maybe I should eventually post some Christmas present bloody tarp photos.
Yeah,
this is the stuff I want to hear about on the Blu-ray when the commentary's going. I want to hear Bailey talk about. Okay, and I see this in here. I was wrapped up like a little Christmas present.
Then you can put in those photos in like a little slideshow.
Yeah.
Yes, like there's me.
Yeah.
Now it's funny because how many times have we had some people on and it's like, oh, so what brought you into horror? Do you like it? And they're like, we don't even like horror. We're
just
shooting
making
it.
a
But
movie,
it seems
yeah.
like everyone here legit enjoys what they're doing. Like what brought you there? I ask this often, or Sergio does too. Like
Actually, I was going to say Sergio was already asked.
in essence, it's like what kind of brought you into it, whether it be the acting side or the directing or even visual effects. Was there one movie that you watched that you're like, I want to do this, or this brought like me? Funny, I mean, Killer Clowns from Outer Space is what drew me into horror. Totally crazy, but I was like, okay, but like, what brought you into it that you're like, I want to do this?
Who wants to start?
Bailey,
start.
you go
I already got
first,
my
yeah.
answer, I think.
Okay.
So I actually got into horror by my best friend when we were younger. We would like secretly watch horror movies at his house, and then I would get in trouble for it. But when he had put on Scream, when I had first seen that, I already loved to act. I loved reenacting every movie I watched, but something about that was so amazing. And the fear that you just felt in the beginning and the way she just the way she expressed her emotions, like it was just so, I don't know how to explain what I mean, but it was so captivating. I was so captivated by her presence, by the man on the phone. And I was like, wow, I want to do this. Like, I want to tell a story that's so captivating where I want people to not be able to look away. And it's terrifying. And I want them to feel scared. And I want them to feel something when they're watching it. So I think when I first saw that, so I'm a big Scream fan. obviously, but that's really what got me into it. So thank you to my best friend Andrew for showing me that movie, because that really got the ball rolling for me when I was younger.
Yeah. What about you, Molly? And before you answer, apparently I think you might have meant like references maybe all the dang time.
Oh yeah, recommendations, Rex.
Oh, okay.
Hot Rex. You're not on the lingo. The kids.
I'm not. I'm not. I ignore
They're
everything.
they're the elder statesmen of the crew. So
You could have been getting hot Rex this whole time.
I'm gonna have to start posting that and see what kind of responses I get.
Yeah.
Like, hey,
elder
y'all, I want some
statesman.
hot Rex. Yeah.
Especially if it's just an audio clip of you saying, "Give me hot Rex."
Yeah, I'll animate it. Yeah. I'm sure it'll go well. But yeah, what influenced you and made you want to start doing what you do?
I initially remember being terrified of horror, and I mean, like, really, I think my first one was The Blob, like the old school 40s version, and even that
1958. Steve
1958.
You're the Wolfie's a walking encyclopedia
Put
of
some
horror. So
respect on the Blob's name. I know. And it terrified me. And then I remember seeing Rosemary's Baby, which is so, I think every aspect of that is moving. And I've always really loved the horror trope of a woman is screaming something is wrong and no one will listen to her. And as a woman, that is something that I see and I've experienced. And it was just so real and horrifying and so well executed, but it was also something that I had full control over. And I could step in and out of it. And it was very intriguing to kind of like step a toe into discomfort. And I think after that, I started seeking out horror more. But as someone, I've always been involved with acting, and thinking of Mia Farrow filming that movie. I mean,
that movie wrecked her marriage.
Oh yeah,
with Frank Sinatra.
Yeah, and the emotional places that she must have gone to do that, and then to even, I mean, you can even hear it in the score for that movie. The super basic is just her singing. I know it's not a cappella, but it's very basic, and it's so powerful that you know she just really threw it all out there for it, and that's an attractive proposition as an actress to get something that you can put your full chest into, that you can scream. You know, it's not a typical circumstance that you find in just drama acting, reaching those really horrifying moments. And it's intense and it's interesting. And that's also why I love working with Josh. Josh had graciously said earlier that he had asked me to do it. And I think he was being a bit too gracious. I think that I was indeed the one begging at Josh's footsteps for another scrap of something to chew on. But it's so amazing to work with him because he does give you the opportunity to be your character, and he trusts you as an actor, and he trusts his writing enough to guide you where you need to go. Obviously helping out with directing along the way, but it feels like such a collaborative experience working with Josh that it's, you know, I mean, sometimes with House, I don't know if I should say this out loud publicly, but sometimes with House, it was like, okay, so how are we going to do this scene? Yeah. And asking the actors, and some of it was not scripted, and some of it was just where we wanted to take it. And it was powerful and horrifying, and I want to do it again.
Well, it sounds like you're going to, so that's a plus. Yeah. Derek, what about you? What made you want to cover people in blood?
That is a really good question. Man, I'm going all the way back to my high school years, middle school, high school years, when I first really got into horror. Because this is blasphemy, but I'm going to say it. I've always been more of a music fan than I have been a movie fan. Yeah, it's just a thing. I'm just not musically inclined. So, but for me, it was probably between George Romero's Day of the Dead and Reanimator are probably the two that I always go back to. Reanimator, I would say, is probably one of my all-time favorite movies. I can rewatch it a million times over, and it never gets stale. And then Day of the Dead, that's the best zombies have ever looked on camera, in my opinion. And the gore in
I
that
agree.
movie is so sloppy and nasty, and it's just I cannot get enough of that.
That and Fulci's Zombie.
I was just about to say Fulci's Zombie as well. The gore in that movie, I mean, between the eyeball gouge and that girl getting her throat ripped out by the maggot eye zombies, I mean, it is just,
Yeah.
it is absolutely incredible stuff. And I remember being around, like, I want to say I was in middle school, so like 7th or 8th grade when I saw a lot of those for the first time, and I was just totally blown away. And I'm like, I need to do this, So, but look, for me, I don't know why, but there's something always about Reanimator. I think it's the way they mixed the comedy kind of in with some of the gore and things like that. Like the scene when he's got the cat on his back and he's just like struggling around in the basement and like tosses it and it hits I mean, it's awful, but I laugh every single time. I can't help it. I love animals, but that was just really funny. Even at the end when the intestines are all wrapped around him, he's like fighting with them. I'm like, this is ridiculous. I love it. So yeah, I think those specifically, but even like newer movies that really pushed me to actually want to be involved with the filmmaking process. A big one was the Rec films. I really like the Rec films. But I think Ty West is an absolute beast, and I
agree with you 100%. By
yes,
the way, like it's
House of the Devil.
Oh my God,
House of the Devil,
yeah.
blown away, and I'm like, dude, holy cow! And then you realize like how small budget it is, but like how epic that movie was, especially that last like 15 minutes. It's just like so balls
When
to the
I
wall.
saw that movie, I didn't know it existed. I saw it on Netflix, and I thought it was an older movie. And I'm like, wait a minute, this dude's not that old. I'm like, what? And I was like, wait a minute, this movie's not old at all. Like it felt like an older movie. And I recommend, like, whenever I ask people if they like slow burns, I always ask them, have you checked out Ty West stuff? Because he's slow burns, but they're fantastic. There's like such great payoff in these movies. I agree with you 100%.
Innkeepers. Oh my God. That is like one of the creepiest movies I've ever seen in my life. And when people are like, I like supernatural movies, I was like, Innkeepers, go watch it right now.
Yeah.
It's so good.
I agree 100%. We're friends now. But anyways, sweet. So Josh, what about you? Like, I know you said you directed plays and stuff like that. What brought you to make the leap to directing a movie?
So, I've always been, a horror fan, but it didn't start off as horror. It started off as comedy. Comedy was like my gateway into film. And, I would stay up late with my dad and we would watch, Abbott and Costello and Laurel and Hardy and the Three Stooges. But there was something about the Halloween episodes. There was something about the scary episodes of the Three Stooges or Abbott and Costello and the Monsters. It done something a little different to me. So I think that was kind of my gateway to horror itself was, through Abbott and Costello. And then I would watch, like Bela Lugosi's Dracula and, Frankenstein and the old Hammer films. And it opened up my world to horror. And then I started going through my dad's VHS collection and,
Risky.
yes, very risky. There were some things in there that I saw that I shouldn't have at that age.
Yes. No such thing.
There is. Yep.
So, my dad always had like the forbidden shelf. Like, this is stuff that, I don't want you getting to. I was like, all right. So I found a way to get to it. As kids do.
Step stools. Yeah.
Yeah. And taking a broom and just like pushing it, like, I'm gonna get it. And of course, VHS costs, VHS tapes cost like $100 and some back then. So of course you're scared that it's gonna hit the floor. But yeah, so like Evil Dead 2, that's where I saw Evil Dead 2. I didn't see the Evil Dead or Army of Darkness. I saw Evil Dead 2 first. Just because I'm a kid, it's like, the cover looks badass, so I'm gonna watch it. I mean, that's the whole thing with films. If the poster looks terrible, what does that say about the film? You know, you got to have something to drag you in, and it starts with the cover. So, you know, and that's why I'd watch stuff like Texas Chainsaw Massacre and stuff at a very young age, very, very young age.
What's a very,
So
very
that
young age?
I'd probably say, you know, 8 years old for me with Texas Chainsaw, probably. So, you know, those movies got me into the world of film, and I had a chance to direct a few plays in high school and even after high school. So, you know, directing stuff like Peter Pan. Don't ask me why. But then I started doing like little skits and stuff that I really found fun. So I would get a bunch of my friends and we go down to the theater, and I would direct like zombie stuff, you know, like you're gonna play a zombie, you're gonna act like you're eating this person. It was always horror related. And then of course I directed a play Peter Pan, and then I was like, I don't like this. So then I was like, okay, well, I want to do film. That's just what I want to do. I want to be the person behind the camera that yells action. I want to see my films come to life. I want to, and by that time, you know, in high school, I already written a couple scripts, just because I loved writing. So I still have a couple of those scripts, but The House That Eats Flesh came to me at back in, you know, high school because my I'm going off on tangents. Sorry, that's what I do. So I mean, that's based on my grandma's house because it scared me as a kid. You know, and she always said that there was like ghosts living in the walls and stuff, and it just scared me to death. So I wrote it at a very young age, and of course, you know, you go back to it and change things, so it's not the same as it was when I was in high school. But yeah, I mean, it started off with comedy, then I got into theater arts, and I acted a little bit, but it was always the interest of getting behind the camera and creating something out of nothing, and writing. It just, I fell in love with it. But yeah,
that's awesome.
I think we should bring some Peter Pan to Late Checkout. I think
Totally.
Drew Marvick needs to be in some little green tights.
I think so
Jesus.
too. That's actually, I think, I don't know what to think, but I think that's amazing.
You just need to have one scene in a movie where you turn to the camera, you know, you break the fourth wall and you look and you go, if you believe, clap.
That's not a bad idea, actually. That's fine.
I think that's pretty great. So you said you wanna like music wise and stuff too. You want this to feel like an early 2000s movie. Do you already have some ideas on bands that you're going for, or do you already have stuff set up?
So we just introduced on you know, I think yesterday or a couple days ago that Rocky Gray is doing the score, and Rocky Gray is you know, the former drummer for Evanescence. So who better to handle the score than someone who was in one of the rock bands in the 2000s? So I mean, that's awesome to me. So yeah, and we were gonna I'm gonna reach out to some people who have who specialize in that decade of music, just to give it that real feel to it. Just because I loved it when you'd like be watching a film and here comes that hard rock Marilyn Manson song, you know, like I just
talking
love
about that last week.
Yeah, I mean, I love stuff like that. Like I think Hatchet, in the beginning of Hatchet, ain't that in Marilyn Manson?
Yes.
I mean, yeah, it's not like early 2000s, but it's still just, you know, I don't know, it just brings something extra to the film, I think.
Yeah.
It gets your
Well,
blood
look
pumping.
at
exactly.
Ghost Ship has one of the most iconic, and it's Mudvayne, and it's like every time I hear that, it's like Ghost Ship. It's like you correlate, you know, like a movie with that song and stuff. So
yeah, the director we actually had on last week directs music videos like as his full-time day job, and like he canceled a couple weeks ago because he was directing a video for Meshuggah, and but he does like Korn and from like bands like that, but he also does like Willie Nelson videos. So it's like it's just pretty crazy. I'm like, I need to just watch your catalog. He said he did like 800 videos, but
yeah,
that's insane. I mean, whatever pays the bills, right?
Absolutely.
So, yeah, so that'll be pretty cool to you know, have it be that 2000s feel. So yeah, I'm excited to see it. So you have an Indiegogo that's launching soon. What can you like? I know it's obviously not launched yet, but lots of cool perks coming, I'm assuming, and some
Absolutely.
announcements of cast members and stuff like that. I didn't say. I don't know if it's supposed to be known, like what was on the Facebook group as far as like people that are going to be in the movie.
Yeah. I mean, we have some people that I haven't announced yet. I don't even think the cast knows who we have coming up because I want it to be a surprise.
Nice.
But
You show up to set one day, be like, "What?
Uh,
What's going
yeah,
on?"
yeah, exactly. So I mean, yeah, we're trying to keep it, low key, especially with the cast members. Whoever we have cast coming in, so we're keeping that low key. But everything else, I mean, the Indiegogo is going to launch, and we're going to have the obvious stuff like Blu-rays, DVDs, the producer perks.
Yeah, just as long as you could take up a little bit more room in my Doom room with another movie, I'm fine.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're going to have a bunch of
We can get some people into some green tights. There you go. That could be a perk.
Yeah, so I mean, we're gonna have a bunch of stuff, props from the movie, posters, signed stuff from LC Holt. I think we're gonna have a Your Next Blu-ray that's gonna be signed by LC.
Nice.
We're gonna have stuff like that and props, and I think we're gonna sell Bailey's screen worn outfit because I know people love stuff like that.
Covered in blood.
Covered in blood.
Yes, covered in all my blood. Perfect.
And stuff
Perfect,
like
yeah.
calendars. I know we're going to do vinyls because Rocky Gray is coming in, so we're going to do vinyls. They're going to be super limited. The VHS have those, but yeah. So January 7th.
January 7th, and we're just do a search for. Are you going to have on your Facebook group or on Instagram? You're going to have the link to your Indiegogo, or just want people to search for it, or?
Yeah. We'll what we'll do is we'll put it down in the comments. We'll put the Indiegogo link because Facebook is weird, and if they see that stuff, they will take it down, or they won't show it to people because you're posting it all the time. So yeah, it's going to be in the comments just so it hides the Facebook algorithm. So yeah, it's going to be on our my Facebook, everyone's Facebook. We have Rue Morgue doing a article on the late checkout, so that will be on their Facebook. And the YouTube trailer should have the link as well, so it should be easy to find. You could type in late checkout on the Indiegogo search and it should pop up.
Nice. Yeah, that's awesome. And yeah, Facebook is kind of fickle and weird. Like the movie Dark Circles. Yeah, the movie Dark Circles, they ended up having to change their name because what the original name was, Facebook wasn't allowing her posts to go anywhere.
Yeah.
That was
insane.
That was a bit of a nightmare with all that. All of the posts were getting buried. The Indiegogo was nowhere near as successful as what they had anticipated. That whole situation was weird. I don't know how much about this I'm supposed to say. I do think they are eventually going to change the name back to the event surrounding A Peeping Tom. I don't know if that is true or not, but that was discussed on set quite a bit because that name just it sounds like an old
phenomenal.
Phenomenal. It sounds so cool, but I hope that maybe it gets
even if they do
but...
Dark Circles in brackets the events surrounding
I mean whatever ends up happening with it, but yeah, Facebook is really weird about that. I think at any given time I feel like I'm working on 5 projects at a time, I swear. And what I'll do is I'll kind of go through, and I obviously can't put that many links right there in a post, but it's I have found that if I share an Indiegogo page outright, that the post gets buried and I'll get 3 likes on it. But if I post a list of the movies I'm working on and I put all the links in the comments, everybody sees it, and then I get tons of likes on it. So it's I think they recognize you're trying to promote something without paying to have it promoted. So we're gonna bury you for that. And so
stupid.
It's you got to figure out ways to wiggle around it. But there's certain keywords that they'll totally pin you for that. And I think that's what ended up happening with Dark Circles specifically. It's happened with a few other projects I've worked on, just because of the way someone has worded something. It gets taken down and you get thrown in Facebook jail or whatever.
That's insane.
It's
If anything,
goofy.
it's just going to force people to go somewhere else. So
No, totally. You know, and
whatever.
even on Instagram, I've been having a hell of a time on Instagram because when on my actual FX page, whenever I post pictures of some of the stuff I do, it either gets hidden or gets taken down, and I have to like repost it, and I'm just like, man, this sucks. And it's like I don't want to have to go to Twitter because Twitter kind of sucks too.
Yeah.
It's like hey,
does.
that's the only place where I can post stuff, and it's not gonna get like flagged or taken down or whatever, you know. So I mean, they gotta get it figured out for the artists, because this is how
I think what they want to do is they want to charge you for it. I think
yeah,
that's what it is.
they have to exploit us in some way.
Right.
That's why there's always like a coupon code or whatever for the Wicked Horror Show page and stuff. It's like, here, promote it, but have $5 off. It's like, I could do it myself, thank you.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah.
But
Now that
you're
we've
cutting me off at the knees.
Yeah. Now that we've just badmouthed social media for a while, it's actually time to wrap up. So let's go through and give everyone social media so where people can find you. So Josh, where do you like people to interact with you the most?
Facebook is the main place. I spend a lot of time on Facebook because of business, so you can find me on Facebook with just type in Josh Graves. I'm sure my face will pop up. And then Instagram, you can find me on Josh Graves Horror. So I spend Instagram and Facebook is where you'll find me.
Nice. Molly, where can people find you?
I am Molly with the bright red hair. I don't know why, I just chose it.
That's a cool name, though.
It's very long. It's very long. If you think it's too long, it's still a couple of letters. Molly with the bright red hair.
Yeah. So everywhere, that's your handle, like everywhere.
I'm basically just an Instagram person. I don't tweet.
Okay.
Facebook is more like my grandma's. So
I agree. Bailey, where can people find you?
You can find me on Instagram. My name is a horror hippie, but HIPPY. I mostly use my Instagram. Facebook is basically like Molly. I have a few film people on there, but it's mostly just a lot of my family members. So Instagram is the best place to connect with me.
Nice. Derek, all the places you hate, where can people find the bane of your existence?
You can add me on Facebook. That's always cool. I talk to people on Facebook. You can follow me on Instagram. My Instagram is just Derek Must Be Destroyed with a dot in between each word. Then my special effects page is just Icarus FX Studio. You can hit me up on any of those. I'm always down to chat about stuff, and that's the best place you'll see, all the things that we're working on, including some awesome late checkout updates.
Nice. So, Wolfie, where can people find you?
You can find me on YouTube, The 13th Wolfman, Twitter at The 13th Wolfman, Tumblr, 13th Wolfman, The Prowl, doing the Wicked Horror Reviews with Kev, doing the Wicked Horror Show twice a month. And check out my YouTube. I'm throwing something new up all the time. What about you, Tony?
You can find me at Tony Has 9 Fingers on YouTube, where I do movie reviews, unboxings, anything movie related. You'll find me there. Tony Has 9 Fingers on Twitter, which I should just get rid of, hardly use it. Tony Has 9 Fingers on TikTok, which I do not twerk at all.
That's all you're doing over there.
I show off my
makes
movies.
It clap all day long. Just makes it clap.
Tony's Movies on Instagram, where I show off the movies behind me. And, of course, here Tuesday nights on the Wicked Horror Show. Also, check out our Wicked Horror Show Instagram, where you can find out who's coming on and past guests and stuff like that. So
when he's going to twerk.
Yeah.
I'm going to twerk my schedule.
He's got a schedule for it, yeah.
Kevin.
Anyways, just A-Knuckle on Instagram. Besides doing the stuff with Wolfie and doing this show, I'm also part of Black and White Fright and Secret Underground Hideout, all of which are on the Dorkening Podcast Network. Go to thedorkening.com for more information on all the shows there. Thanks for listening / watching, and go support indie horror and go get covered in blood or something, right?
And on January 7th, check out their Indiegogo.
Yep. Exactly. Bye, everybody. It's ending 1 second.
Bye.
Bye.
Your favorite thing to either say or favorite Constantine quote to do in your voice, and can you do it for us now?
I mean, I call people wanker and cunt a lot. I don't really have a